Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and we're going to do another live stream. This is more like sweet tea live streamed right at you. Now, the question of the day is, can you hear me? And the little green dot says you can. The other one is, are you missing the boat in retirement? And this really comes from my whole entire membership group that I started. We're out on Circle. Join us if you like, but we have this whole conversation going on of, hey, if you take some of these funds and you marry them up to others, how do you really do? Which funds are the best funds out there? I think that was Friday's video. So I did Friday's video, and I sit there and I had this conversation with many of the members and says, ooh, wait a second. We might be missing the boat on some of this stuff. And we're going to break down what we might be missing in this whole entire process of living on our distributions. Now, everybody has different goals. So sit back, get your sweet tea or get your coffee, because it's still early in the morning, and we're going to talk about this. Now, the first thing is, none of this is financial advice or any other advice. It's just Brad just out here mumbling to himself for you. All right, so we're going to move that. We're going to put up some actual screenshots here. We're just going to share my screen one at a time. If I share my screen, I'm going to put it up there. I ran GIAX against SPY against SPY. And I sat there and I go, okay, it's a little bit behind. It's 13.61, SPY's at 19, SPY that we all love. At least if you're watching my channel, you probably like it. I'm just going to guess. And I sit there and go, well, that's interesting, because SPY pays 12%, thereabouts. And GIAX pays 24%. And I sat there and I go, huh. Because this all comes down to the new State Street ETFs that came out. And I said, and my answer is a firm, hard no, unless you marry it with the underlying. So I'm waiting for the distributions to come out. But I started looking at this and I'm like, wait a second. If I marry this and say, if GIAX was going to pay 12% instead of 24%, and I put 50% into SPY and 50% into GIAX, that gives me my 12% distribution, just like SPY. And I rebalance on a quarterly basis. And you can see where I'm going with this. I come up with some different math. So what I come up with is, I'm going to have to do this a lot. Sorry, everybody. I am... Stop screen sharing, add the screen again. I come up with oh, that's not the right one. Anyway, I come up with, you can sit there and get better actual NAV with GIAX than you can get with SPY paying 12%. And I'm sitting there going, are we missing this with everything? And I started really thinking about this. I really think we are missing a lot more of this than you can imagine. And I'm going to share this. Yeah, this is SPY. So I looked at SPY and we're up 13.17, and GIAX's NAV price is down 10.7. But if I add the two together, and this is just over a year, add two together and divide by 2, hey, wait a second. My actual NAV is higher, and I got 12%. And I sit back going, I go to the other chart and I'm like, really, that's about the same thing. So I'm sitting there going, are we missing the boat? because I was like, this can't be right. And I'm just sitting there going, this can't be right. And I say that, and I keep on going back and going, but maybe I'm not missing the boat. But I started going through other ones and said, okay, why bit? It's yield max, right? We just go, oh, it's yield max. And then I took it IBIT. And I go, wait a second. If I add those two together and go 50% IBIT and 50% yield bit, oh, guess what? I'm right on top of BTCI for total returns, right? And I'm sitting there going, that's again interesting, because YBIT pays more in distribution. So technically, you can have more in IBIT than YBIT to get the same percentage as BTCI. And I said, that can't be true. That can't be true. That's what I keep on telling myself. Maybe I'm totally missing the boat. Maybe I am totally missing the boat. Because I go, if I look at the NAV, wow, that NAV really stinks on yield max, because everybody hates NAV erosion and everybody keeps on talking about yield max and NAV erosion. But wait a second. If I add 50% again, and I take my IBIT and my YBIT and I add the two together and divide by 2, guess what? You're doing again better than BTCI. So I'm sitting here going, we're missing the boat, because maybe these high yield ETFs aren't as bad as everybody says if you are marrying them to the underlying. It's easy to mathematically calculate on a yearly basis. If you're trying to do it on a monthly basis, it really gets to be daunting. It does, because all I'm doing is taking yearly, going, hey, here's this and here's this. You add the two together and you divide by 2. It's very easy. But you can start doing other calculations of going, hey, this is paying 80% and this one's paying 24%. If I'm happy with 24%, I know that I'm going to be happy with 40% or 30%. And then you just get to do the math and say, wait a second, I can get 30% on YBIT and earn more of IBIT, and I have more money at the end of the day with a larger percentage. And I'm just sitting there going, man, it can't be true. But so far on the graphs, it tells me it's true. That's why you're missing the boat. I think, just generally speaking, we're lazy. I didn't call you lazy. I didn't mean that. I apologize. You're lazy. Lazy. I'm lazy. That's why I like Spy Eye. I want them to do it for me, right? I mean, why would I own Spy, and why would I own a fund and then have to combine the two and rebalance every quarter? It doesn't take very much. It takes a whole 10 minutes of your time to actually rebalance it and do the math. Well, it takes me 10 minutes. Might take you a little bit longer, but that's okay. You can do the math. I know you can do the math if you graduated high school, or even if you have a GED. I know that you can do the math. And that's the question. Why are we so married to funds that have no NAV erosion, but when you combine them with the underlying, they outperform? And you just sit back and go, why do you do it? I don't know. Looking for an answer. Anybody who wants to make a comment, feel free. But why do you do it? I just say we're lazy. I'm personally lazy, and I just want Neos to do it for me. I just look at this going, I know that we can do better, especially in my circumstance, and everybody's circumstance is different. I'm in retirement. I'm looking to live on 8% of cost. And I can just sit back and go, wow, this really starts to make sense to do a lot more marrying funds, just like, State Street, and say, okay, I can own State Street and put 50% in and hold 50% in uncapped. What's my percentage? As long as it's, I don't know, I'm going to put a floor of 10%. As long as it's 10%, I might be better off doing it that way and doing it myself, taking a few minutes every day. I mean, what else do I have to do in retirement than anything else? Why doesn't Biddy get much attention? And Biddy's the same way. Biddy is the exact same way. I love Biddy. I'm building Biddy out. I'm lazy. Remember, I just said that I'm lazy. They write 25% non-capped. They do it for me. That's the whole comment, is they do it for me. And I'm just lazy. And that's what I'm looking for. That's why I like the new Rec shares. I look at the new Rec shares and go, hey, 50% uncapped, 50% cover calls. They're doing it for me. They're using 1.2% leverage. I'm in. Then I go look at Roundhill. And Roundhill is going to come out with that 1.2% leverage on SPY and on the Qs. I hate to say this. I'm just sitting there going, I know that those aren't going to probably go down as fast as 80%. I think the math is 88%. So I know I'm not going to lose my money. So I'm sitting there going, wait a second. I might be better off getting some of these new Roundhill coming out. I mean, that's really going to put the competition on everybody else. I can already tell you, I will buy a couple shares of the new Roundhill funds using 1.2% leverage when they come out on SPY and the Qs. It's a little bit safer than individual stocks. I think you can do better individual stocks, and that's that inner guru. Pick your individual stocks and hold them. Have a little bit of Roundhill. Have best cover call one that's right for you. Not right for me, but right for you. But I can see other people going, I'm lazy too, right? I got a question right before you know you brought this. Need a solution, right? It's all about you, what you really want to do, right? What the sweet dividend says to say today. Sweet dividend says the initial purchase of pair is okay, but then trying to keep both up to date all the time. Now I need a DCA on drips. I have to do math. I have to click magic, buy buttons. That's why we're lazy, right? Come on, that's exactly why we're lazy. Frank is like, it's effortless, right? It's effortless, and that's what we're looking for. And that's why I'm sitting there going, you might be able to squeeze out a little more percentage points if you do it married. And if you're looking for some diversification, you might be able to do it with other funds. That's the best part. That's the whole conversation. The whole conversation is, hey, maybe the State Street funds might be the best thing out on the street. You put X amount in, but then you have to do the math, and who wants to do math? Although, if you use M1 Finance, and I've tried that platform before, it will actually do it for you and balance it out as your distribution comes in and keeps your percentages the same. I thought that was interesting. That's totally up to you if you want to go that way. If not that I'm going to start a new fund at M1 Finance because I'm a little too old to be doing that stuff. But anyway, they will do it for you. You don't even have to do it. You just go ahead. Right? And this one, your thoughts on why pay? Okay. This is like why max? I just don't think that you need to own all of them. There you go. You know what it's called? It's called you're lazy. Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and call it just like me. Just like you, we're lazy, and that's why we do something like YPay. Just because we're lazy. Because we don't want to go out and pick our own and rebalance and have to do that kind of stuff. I'm just like that, right? I used to do it myself. There's one. Yeah, I used to do it myself, and I stopped stressing myself, my calls and how far out and skipping earnings. So I am with you. I'm writing some of my own cover calls on silver now, and I've actually done some iBid on the side, and I'm just sitting there going, I know we're doing my own iBid that I can beat BTCI. Without a doubt, I know I can beat it. The comment is, do I want to be doing that every single day and looking at it and saying, do I roll? Do I not roll? Do I roll? Do I not roll? Am I good? Oh, it's in the money, but I can roll. Trust me, I sit there and I started doing the iBit, and I'm doing very well. And that's on my growth side. And I'm sitting there going, no, I'm going to stick with Biddy and BTCI and call it I'm lazy. That is exactly where we are. And we look at this, many of us want easy retirement. There you go. Many of us want an easy retirement, not having to buy a fund and underlying, to pay attention and rebalance. I agree with you. But are you willing to give up some of that upside potential by not doing it yourself? You're making that decision. And guess what? I made that decision too. So we're in the same boat. We are missing the boat. We're waving goodbye. Bye, boat. But at the same time, we're happy. We're on shore. We're living by the beach, and we're enjoying ourselves. So that is just my thought for the day, and I wanted to share it with you. The other one is, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out. I bought this book. I watched a video. I posted a video in the group. I think I posted it out on X too. The video was how you can beat the Qs and T using 3x leverage and everything else. And I'm sitting there going, in retirement. And this is the same. Okay, truth be told, this is the same guy that I watched his video a long time ago that told me that, hey, you can sell your SPY on the 200-day simple moving average and you can beat the market. And I'm sitting there going, okay. Now there's a new book out on the Qs and TQs, how you can beat the market. Now, as an income investor, I think that is interesting because on Friday's video, using the same way and the same methodology that he uses to beat the market using the Qs and the TQs, you can actually use that same exact methodology and know this is when you should probably have a little hedge, and you can do your hedges differently. I think I brought this up. You can buy a put, you can roll it into YQQQ, you can do all kinds of stuff. It's really up to you on what you want to do. It really does. That's up to you how you want to do it. And a brokerage account, totally different than an IRA. An IRA, you might be just better off rolling it to YQQQ. Reason being is you're still looking for that income. And if you watched my portfolio, January, February, March, April, right, the percentage I got paid went down. And if I would have rolled it into YQQQ, 50%, my distributions would have stayed the same. And I noticed that my actual portfolio would have stayed almost the exact same dollar amount. So I wouldn't have gone down. I went down like $70,000, something like that. And that's only on what I'm going to call equity side, right? But I noticed that, started going back and looking at it, going, it made sense that, hey, I should have rolled a little bit over here and then rolled it back on that. And he uses in that book a couple different indexes and how you should be able to look at that. And I'm like, that's really, really thought that something like that. Somebody just asked me my thought on MREITs, and I am going to say, Tom, you haven't been watching me long enough. I do nothing with MREITs. Just don't. Interest rates are going to come down. How's that going to play? Don't ask me to go do your research. Go back and look at low rates and what happened to MREITs. REITs are going to go up in the lower interest rate. At least that's what they have done in the past. Now, everybody keeps on asking me, what about this? What about that? I'm sorry. It takes me 30 minutes to do the same research you should be able to do using the same tools. And in the group, I'm actually doing more. Somebody said something about the group coaching. The group coaching is, hey, how do you use this tool? What do you look at? Right? That way, teaching them to fish and not fishing for them. That's kind of a thought. You got to be able to fish on your own. Remember, multiple rods. And then I told myself, how many rods are too many rods? Because now you're worried about lines getting tangled. So keep that in mind. So hopefully you guys find this enjoying and entertaining. And I am going to give you back your Sunday morning so you can go spend time thinking about the market tomorrow and enjoying yourself. So until next time, God bless.